All right, I want to wish a wonderful good evening to everyone. It's exactly 8 o'clock, and I would love to just say hello to all of you who've given up a Friday evening to learn some simple strategies to use your fear to survive and thrive in an uncertain world. And I think you know why I called it an emergency webinar. I just want to say hello to a few names I recognize here on the list. We got Andrew, obviously, Alistair, Ben, Brian, Bruno, Carol, Catherine, Chucky, Colin, Ava, Gillian, Gordon, Jim, a couple of Johns, Julie, Malcolm, Melanie Windle. It's amazing, guys. Thank you so much for giving me your time. Lots more names coming in now. Peter, good evening, Peter. I hope you received the book, Peter, that I put in a post for you. Peter Vinis, that is. Richards, Tony, Tracy. Lovely to see you on the webinar, Tracy Rissick. Varinda Chopra, lots more people. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. Hi, Tracy. Excellent. Peter, you got your book. Absolutely excellent. Cool. Yes. So when stuff kicked off this week, let me first of all also welcome James Watson. Obviously, James is on the webinar, my business partner in Your Internet Buddies. Good evening, James.
Hello, Daniel. Thank you. I'm glad you didn't forget me.
No, of course not. No, I just realized we have an official start. We already were chatting
Yeah,
before the webinar, but we have an official
yeah.
start here.
Good evening,
I
everyone.
appreciate.
Yep.
James, as many of you know, is a proud father of young twin girls. They're now how old, James? Is it
The
4 months, four and a
four,
half?
4 months and a week.
Okay, it is, yeah, amazing. They do incredibly well. Obviously, being looked after tremendously well by James and Licha, and
Yeah, by the
it's
mother on their
it's
own
it's
tonight. Yeah.
yes, that's actually one of the topics we want to touch on tonight, because obviously having children, having very young children like James and Licha, or in my case, I got both my kids with me currently. My son is 19, my daughter is 15. And the current events have definitely given us some food for thought. And James and I, we're always looking at the world, the macroeconomic climate, so to say, and see how it affects what we want to do in our own little worlds, our little businesses. And of course, our plan and our goals here is that we affect as many people as possible with our positive ideas, positive thoughts, to get um, more back into control, back in the driving seat. So if you allow me, I would love to actually work this webinar a little bit differently and involve you a bit more. And can you just write one word how this week, and when I mean about this week, I'm referring to the riots in the UK and to the downgrading of the US credit rating that sent the markets tumbling. The Dow has lost 12% in the last 3 weeks. And it's not just, and this is including this week's recovery. So can you just send me one word how it made you feel, or how you felt this week when those events happened? And every answer is valid. I'm not judging that. I just want to know how you guys felt about that. Okay, we get very interesting combination here.
Mm.
We have from people saying remarkable, scared, disturbed, unsettled, fearful, saddened, expected it. It had not much influence on me. That's Bruno Bürgi from Switzerland. Welcome, Bruno. Concern for the future, ridiculous, frightening, saddened, but also massive opportunity. Disgusted. I don't watch TV. Very good decision there.
Yeah.
Uncertainty, surprise, opportunity. Thanks, guys. I think we're getting the gist, or the kind of direction of how people generally felt. And I was actually, although I don't watch much TV, I grabbed some updates while I was at the gym in the morning. My cycle and running machine seems to have a news channel running when I'm there, so I did get a lot more than I wanted to be honest. But there is obviously, I think the sentiment that we all share is that there are things outside our control that can affect us tremendously. And I'm not just meaning emotionally. I was pretty frustrated for a few days. I wrote a Facebook post on Wednesday, had a lot of wonderful response from people, everything from trying to cheer me up to telling me the New World Order is coming and why bother. So we had a variety of responses to that. But what I realized, it made me think, what am I doing in my life, in my business, to prepare for the changing world? And we're all very much aware that this world is changing rapidly. The economies of the world are shifting very much away from what is used to be known the First World, the Americas and Europe, and over to what was traditionally called Third World of Far East Asia. And not just that, we also know there is a massive devaluation of currencies going on, and of course all the uncertainty in the Middle East. So we cannot influence a lot of that, but we can obviously influence how we react to it and how we prepare for it. I don't want to put my head in the sand and just pretend it doesn't happen, or just do positive thinking. We've got to be a bit more grown up about this, is my feeling. And this is why I wanted to give you a few simple strategies how you can use your fear. And fear was one of the emotions mentioned a lot. How to survive and thrive in an uncertain world. The idea behind that is that I found in my life that fear has maybe been the biggest stumbling block, the biggest problem that I had to deal with, from going from where I was to where I wanted to be. And that is literally, many of you have read my book or know my story a little bit. 5 years ago, I was in a job I hated, in a relationship I was unsatisfied in. I was financially broke. I was financially very uneducated. I was very unfree and very frustrated. And the main problem was I was just afraid. I had this massive fear. And there are different acronyms people use for fear. Some people say it's false evidence appearing real, and there are different ways of dealing with that emotion. But whatever it is an emotion that holds people back from going out. And what I want to share with you tonight is some of the strategies that I found work best of dealing with that kind of scary emotion that holds most people back and keeps us in our comfort zone. Now, I feel I have a little bit of reason or authority to speak about that because of what I've achieved in my own personal breakthroughs, but also how I've been able to help many other people expand their comfort zone. All of you who work with me in a coaching environment, be it on a one-to-one or group coaching, they know that the main challenges that we face are internal challenges. It's never about the technology. So it's a bit of a strange webinar to run as an internet marketer, how to overcome your fear. But I believe that everyone who made it tonight understands exactly where I'm coming from. And I was very amazed to see that our registration numbers were only a little bit below the numbers when we show people how to make a ton of money using some of our strategies. So that was really pleased. James, let me just pass it on to you. I mean, how did you feel this week, and how did it affect you?
Yeah, well, I shared a lot of the emotions of people in the comments. It was a combination of a little bit of shock, but also expecting it, but also realizing that you have to control your own reality in which you live. I mean, and not be affected unnecessarily and too far by what happens externally in the world. This is really important. I'll give you an example. So I really don't watch TV. I can't stand TV news. But I will keep up to date in events, and I will do that in my own way. I mean, I quite like watching, for example, the Guardian has really pioneered a kind of live news blogging that a lot of online newspapers now copy. So I tend to just get my updates from that, because I don't have to see any flashing images across the screen or any over-hype sort of news announcers spelling doom and gloom, but I can still catch up on the news. So I feel I'm a little bit in control of when I update myself with what's going on, and I don't allow myself to be unduly influenced by the negativity of the mainstream media. So that's one emotion. The second thing I wanted to say actually about tonight, in a broader sense, was that, I mean, these ideas about overcoming fear are not. This is we first recorded a little piece on this a couple of years ago, and a lot of people really commented that they found it extremely helpful, great content. Obviously, nothing to do with sort of global events, but just in general, how to develop some strategies to overcome fear, because fear is at the
Mm,
root of why we don't achieve anything that we strive to achieve in life. It's fear that
mm,
holds us back every single way. I'm afraid,
mm,
Daniel. I know you're afraid at times, and I'm sure everyone on the call is afraid. We're all afraid. It's perfectly natural, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's how you cope with that emotion that will determine whether you can meet your goals or not. And these
mm.
strategies are important ways to help you overcome that feeling of fear.
Absolutely. I mean, I want to go back to my reason for doing this. I mean, I was obviously paralyzed by fear for most of my life, not taking the action I wanted to take. And then I've done a lot of work in the field of self-development. I spent time with Tony Robbins. I spent time with T. Harv Eker. I did the Warrior Camp in America, which was a tremendous experience for me, where we pushed our fear again and again and again. And there are different strategies I learned from that really helped me. And within a short time, my life has started to change because I was able to take action, more decisive action. So let me go to my first slide. What are we afraid of? And by the way, these slides are going to be very simple. There's no flashy, fancy graphics. They're just a couple of pointers for me to stay in the flow. But what are we afraid of? And there's some great philosophers that say that we're afraid of most to be who we really can be, that we're really most afraid of our true potential, our true light, to take leadership and to go out there. And this is, I can speak from my own experience, leadership is one of my biggest challenges, and I know that I have qualities that need to go out there and lead, but I'm very, very afraid. So all of you listening today, this is something you need to develop, is leadership, and leading yourself, leading your family, leading your partner, leading your kids to a brighter future. And that is not easy, because what comes with leadership is responsibility. And I want to break down the word responsibility into the two roots of the word response ability. So it means you are able to respond, which means you are in control. It's the opposite of being paralyzed. So taking responsibility, meaning it's a sense of freedom, really, and it's not something that I learned as a kid. I was afraid of discipline. I was afraid of doing discipline. It felt like it would lock down my freedom, but actually it's the other way around. Self-discipline, overcoming fear, fighting those emotions is actually the right way to do it. Fear will always be there, and this is one of the lessons we're going to touch on today, and our challenge is how to deal with it. So people are afraid of success. People are afraid of failure. Okay, and here is the darn thing about this fear. The fear is mainly, and this is now a bit of neuroscience for you. Can I just have a show of hands? Are you okay sharing a bit of neuroscience? Just let me know in the chat box. Okay, a bit of chat box, a bit of feedback, guys. Neuroscience. Okay,
Yeah,
cool. Thank you,
but
guys. Listen, it's only two of you. No, okay. All right. Listen, it's very simple stuff. But what I want to say to you that fear is an emotion exercised by the unconscious mind, and that's a bit of a bummer, because that's not what you're consciously aware of. It's the unconscious mind. And what does the unconscious mind try to do? It tries to protect you. I think it's Harv Eker or Tony or one of the guys I worked with who said it's like the sentinel on a ship, and he tries to protect you. It's always looking out for danger. But here's the problem: it protects you from anything out there that could actually potentially be good for you as well. So all the fear does, it keeps you where you are, and that's obviously not a place of empowerment. It's not a place of growth, and staying where you are is obviously not where you want to go, because every desire for growth, every desire for change means you got to go to a different place. And here is now the real bummer with that fear. We are afraid of succeeding. That means we're afraid of a positive outcome of what we do. We're afraid of failure, which is a negative outcome of what to do. And we're afraid to stay where we are because we're afraid of procrastination, because we all know that life either grows or dies. So here is the paralysis of fear. We are literally afraid to do anything. And what do we then do? And here comes the danger. We then look around us. We look around us for examples of what to do, because we don't want to stand out. We want to make sure we play it safe. Remember, it's your protection. And what then happens is that we literally copy our society's behavior. And this is what we've seen happen last week, that people felt safer committing criminal acts and rioting because it seemed to be the new accepted norm than not. And it was absolutely crazy in those moments that our human logic, our human civilization seems to be literally swept away, and we're taken over by the reptilian brain. We get taken over by the oldest part of our brain, which is self-protection, which is the fight-flight mechanism, which has been groomed in us for hundreds of thousands of years. Remember that the newest part of our brain, the kind of the neocortex, the kind of big part of our brain, is a relatively new addition. And whenever we do illogical or crazy or violence or any of those things, they're normally triggered by a much more powerful underlying brain. So I just want to literally tell you, these are the three things I found we're afraid of. We're afraid of success and shining and growing. And this can have some very deep reasons. Let me share one or two experiences that I had. As a kid, until the age of about 12, 13, I was a bit of a special kid in the way that I was the best at everything. I had a lot of friends. I was a shining example. And I found that my older sister struggled a lot with interaction with peers at school, getting attention from my parents and all that. And that made me incredibly sad. As a kid, you always try to balance energies in a family. And what I found is that I started to stop performing well. I was afraid of being the best I could be because of the effect it would have on the people around me. I hope that makes sense. And what I started doing is I started to start negative patterns of behavior, including drug addiction, falling behind on school, falling behind on my own promises to myself to protect my sister. And these things are very deep behaviors, and only after many years of self-development and meditation did I get to the root of those weird behaviors, which are totally non-empowering. So if you are on the journey of self-empowerment, self-discovery and leadership for your own good and for your people around you, that is something you will be facing. So now that we established what it actually is, let's look at a couple of things that I call the fear flip fundamentals. These are the ways that I can actually bring about, so I can show you some stuff. By the way, one of us has shared that his biggest fear is the fear of rejection. And let me just roll it into failure. Rejection is very much the same notion as failure, because obviously rejection means you do not get the result you expect. And let me tell you why this is so bad for us. Tony Robbins says that our biggest fear and our only fear, in essence, is not to be loved and not to be enough. And I want to leave that with you for just a few minutes. And he goes so deep. Not to be enough as a father, a son, a citizen, a businessman, a husband, a partner, a friend. We all carry that with us, that we're not enough. We're afraid that we're not good enough. And the second thing is that we're afraid to not being loved. And this is directly related to not fulfilling those roles as society put upon us. And I feel for women actually more than for men in this day and age, although I come back to that, because women are expected to be housewives, mothers, and pull their weight in a career, and of course be ultra slim in the gym and healthy and looking great. All is expected from them. And if they can't fulfill that, that creates fear. I personally believe that what we see in the massive amount of insecurity, the high divorce rates, and including cancers and diseases, comes from the massive insecurity that we carry around as people, partly produced by the media and other things. So this is a massive topic that I throw into this webinar tonight. The fear of failure, the fear of rejection, the fear of not being enough drives many of our behaviors. And here is the sad thing, but it is in our neurology, in our genetics. The fear of negativity, of failing, is always stronger than the desire and of pleasure and the desire of achieving. Because at the end of the fear of failure, the end of the fear of failing and rejection and not being loved, stands death, which is the ultimate threat to your life. Yeah, you can live unhappy, that's okay. So you don't have to have a life of passion and meaning and purpose. You can survive without it, but you can actually not, you are afraid of ultimately being alone and dying and not being enough. So this is why fear drives our behavior stronger than anything else. So, what a wonderful, cheerful beginning to the evening.
Well, the good news is, Daniel, you've got some strategies to help with that. I think we all agree that we're all afraid to various degrees and many
Yeah.
different things. I don't think anybody would dispute that. So let's how can we overcome those fears and actually turn them on their heads?
So actually, James, it's great you asked that because the first thing I found, and this is a strategy that I have nobody else actually share, it's not something that Tony says, it's not something that Half shares or any of the other people I studied with, it's not even from my meditation group. This comes actually from a friend of mine in Austria, and I want to explain to you, tell it as it is. And this is one of the biggest things you can do with fear, is shine the light on it. Be clear, lay it on the table, write it down. Be clear, tell your friends, say what you're afraid of. And the moment you put it on the table and put it out there, it will transform. I promise you, it's a magic that I've seen work again and again and again. Let me tell you a few minutes where this strategy comes from. A very good friend of mine, a girl that I went out with when I was young and I know for most of my life, she actually, her job is she works in hospices. So she literally has seen thousands of people die. Thousands of people breathe their last breath. And I don't have to tell you that for many people, this is the scariest moment of their life when they have to come to terms with whatever they lived, when they come to terms with possible their expectation of the afterlife, of the afterworld. So I don't have to tell you it's an intense emotional environment. But what this girl has found out is that when you address the emotion of fear, you address the emotion of grief, address the emotion of anger, and put it on the table and do it in a safe environment, very important, around people that love you and support you. These very deep, horrible, paralyzing emotions can turn around within just minutes. I've seen it happen again and again and again. It's a very simple strategy, but we run this webinar tonight because I want us to acknowledge that we are afraid. It's not an easy thing to do as a man, as a husband, as a father, to actually admit that you're maybe not the ultimate hero, superhero out there, that you have your own fears, your own reservations. On a very sad personal note, my mother called me this morning that my father had to be rushed into emergency surgery this morning. He has they operated him today. My father's 81. They found a tumor in his stomach. It was a life-threatening situation. He is currently stable, but we don't know what's going to come out. And obviously, James doesn't. Nobody knows about this. It just happened today. And guess what? I was afraid. I was afraid to lose my dad. There is never a good time for any of that to happen with everything else going on. So I just took a few deep breaths and I just told my girlfriend, my kids, how I felt. And there were a few tears, but once you lay it on the table, the emotion can change. And I feel very clear about my fear. I'm allowed to address it. And this is the second part of this strategy, number one. Every emotion has a right to exist. Okay, we have this horrible cultural conditioning that we have to be healthy and happy and grinning all day long, and you know, and everyone has to be dancing around the cherry tree. That's not how life happens. We watch too many ads, we watch too many films to believe life's like that. And that made us suppress the other half of the coin. If you ever seen a yin-yang, the Zen symbol of unity and perfection, there is half black and half white. Okay, so you have to acknowledge these other emotions. And I promise you, the more you do that, the more you allow yourself to feel that, that is how these emotions can change. And you will feel some peace and serenity when you admit that you are afraid, when you admit that you are possibly going to be failing, and this will not go away. So take a deep breath, sip of water, and let me just say, I mean, from people hearing that for the first time, do you believe that that could be a useful strategy to actually lay that out on the table? Have you ever tried that, or is it something that you heard about, or can you see that being a powerful strategy to change fear into power?
Well, I mean, I'll just add to that, Daniel. That, I mean, I can see some parallels if you're coming to terms with the condition that you have, maybe an addiction, as you said, to drugs, alcoholism, or something. The first step on the road to recovery is to admit that you have a problem. So you've got to tell it as it is. And so fear is a different emotion. It's a different thing than an addiction, but it's very much the same principle. You've got to affront it before you can even
Mm.
do anything to resolve it. So I think people can understand that.
Totally, and I have to say the feedback, all the people who've been writing back, is very, very supporting, and also thanks, by the way, for all the good wishes for my dad's health. And yes, I very much hope he can recover, and we hope the best. He's 81, so he had a full life, but I mean, there's some more lessons from his fear to confront truth. Which
Mm.
might go too personal, but there's some stuff in his life he never did that. He never stood up to his fear. He never confronted his inner demons, and he didn't make for a happy life. He didn't make for a good story, happy telling. And I think we all have a person around us or in our family that we just see what that can do if you live in fear, if you never confront, if you never stand up to your inner demons, or even your demons outside, people attacking you, people confronting you. So this is a strategy I use all the time, and that is what I believe a recipe also for the great relationship I have with my girlfriend, that we're totally honest in every emotion we feel, with compassion, but be honest about how you feel, because people sense it anyway, and there's no point in those meaningful relationships to live anything but ultimate truth.
Hmm.
So the second strategy I want to share with yourself is the don't freak yourself out. And what I found, and this is maybe not for everyone out there, but what happened to me this week when I got locked into those news, I started to create self-fulfilling prophecies. I started to create patterns in my mind and my behavior which aggravated the situation. Now, what do I mean by those long words? I literally was glued to the telly when I came back from the gym, and I started to project doomsday in all its glory. And even at night, I had my iPhone on. I was watching live streaming videos, and I literally freaked myself out. And luckily, I have an amazing girlfriend who is not affected by things like that and lives in her own beautiful world. And it was just interesting for me to see how the events that were out there, and those events happened, and they were not pretty, and they were obviously not great, how they affect different people in different ways. And then I asked Leva about her strategies of dealing with the case, and she said that she goes into nature, she deals with the beautiful things in life, be it looking at trees or flowers, or dealing with children who have a much more protected innocence in them, and also just to speak to people who have other things going on. And one of the dangers of my life, with all the time and money freedom I have, is that I can spend literally days involving myself in non-constructive activities. And that is something that I found. Now, I just want to ask in the group, was there ever a situation in your life where you freaked yourself out, where you literally did stuff in your mind that made things bigger than they really were? Can I just have some more feedback? James, I don't know from yourself. I mean, James is extremely level-headed, but did it ever happen to you, James, that there was an event that you, in your own mind, blew out of proportion?
Oh yes, absolutely. I mean, as you know, Daniel, I first started to educate myself a few years ago about the way the world really works. You know, who really has power, and how media, for example, is used as a tool to manipulate people very, very
Yeah.
clearly, and with
Yes.
there's no accident. It is this deliberate means of controlling the populace by the
Mm.
information that they get. So I was literally, I could hardly focus on anything for a long time, 12 months, 18 months, and I devoured all the information I could get. But it was a very dark place to be, to not have any release, not to have anything
Yeah,
else, as you
yeah.
say, outside of that. And I did find my release, which was marketing, building a business, something which was
Mm,
positive, focusing on building a family, etc. And while I still
mm.
understand that the world is the way it is, I don't spend all my time there thinking about it, whereas I used to.
Mm. I think that's a really important part, and this is when we go back to how can we use this fear, because we all have it, and you can freak yourself out with conspiracies and all the facts around control, governments, recessions, and everything around us. But what we're doing here tonight is a small revolution. It is a small subversive element to encourage ourselves to get away from that. And this brings me to the answer to don't freak yourself out. Don't freak yourself out is not a strategy, that's just a fact that happens. My answer to that is a community. My answer to that is positive friends and people. And my answer to that is good news. Feed your mind good information. And I mean, I know Andrew is a great fan. Andrew's done a lot of work in that field. And you've got to make sure that you got good information around you, good people around you, good energy around you. Wagner in one of his seminars says, everything is one thing, it's energy. A sale is made only, and this is a Tony Robbins or Brian Tracy thing actually says, when any transaction happens in business, it's a battle of energies. If you have more positive energy, it is literally the objections are energies that come against you. If you got more positive energy, you will win any battle. So everything is one thing is energy. And my wish for you is that you surround yourself with positive energy. And I don't mean incense and crystals, which is a little part of that, but have a positive environment in your home, have positive people around you, get positive information, positive music, positive encouragement around you, read positive books. And this is really a counter, an antidote to don't freak yourself out. So I hope it was useful. And by the way, I asked the question here, some amazing feedback. People been kind of flippant and says yes. And in fact, I just freaked myself out today. Said one of our contributors or one of our group tonight. Andrew said yes, I've done it in a major way. Mike said 9/11. That was a major kind of freaking ourselves out, all of us. And guess what? It's 10 years on, and life has moved on, and a lot of positive things happen as well. Peace One Day is out there affecting millions of people. There's a lot of positive people, community getting together, helping. Some people say, I do it every bloody week. And you know what? This is very important. And by the way, I don't want to take away from point number 6 I want to share today, but it's not going to go away overnight. Oh, actually, here's a fantastic strategy that Andrew has just put in, and it's going to come in a later slide as well, but gratitude. Remind yourself of the good things in your life. We've all been trained to look at a little black spot on the beautiful white sheet. We're focusing on the one thing that doesn't work when so much is right. And writing it down, again, putting it out on the table is a great strategy to deal with that. So summing up in the don't freak yourself out, surround yourself with good people, good energy, have community, and really use positiveness around you. James, you wanna add anything to that before we move on?
I was the only thing I was thinking of. It's also from a business perspective. This is why we talk about creating your own economy. It's so important. You don't want to be reliant on other people for your income, for your survival. So you can create, no matter what the economy, the rest of the world is doing, what the media is talking about, you can create it's such a bountiful personal private economy that none of that actually affects you, and the media
Yeah.
won't tell you that's possible, but it is possible. There's more millionaires this year than there were last year, for example, and
Mm.
numbers are going up. So there's plenty of people doing very, very well, and you can
Yeah.
too.
No, I agree. And actually, at the beginning, when we said how did people feel about last week, I think it was Andrew who said scared or afraid, but also massive opportunity. Or I think he
Yes,
said, and
yes.
that is really what we got to look at. And I think I mean you must have heard it a million times, but the Chinese symbol for crisis, I think, is opportunity and I think that's the other half of it. It literally is crisis and opportunity. So that's really important. There is always both in any situation, and we got to train ourselves. We've got to work on our mindset and our skill to handle that better. So I want to move to the next part, and this is change your perspective. And this is not just a philosophy here. I want to give you some simple strategies that a friend of mine has taught me. He was actually my boss at one point when I started working in the UK, and when I can't remember what I freaked out about at one point in the office, but I think he always had this silly saying, and he said that in 100 years, Daniel, this is just a piece of history, and in a way, this strategy is quite powerful. You just look at whatever happened to you right now, whatever your fear means right now, and you say, let me put it into perspective. What will it mean in 100 years? Will it be front page news? Will people be talking about it? Will it be an event that will change the workings of the world? And that brings me to this point. It's great in this moment to say, if my worst fears do come true, could I recover from that? Or would it break me? Would I die? What is the worst outcome that can happen? And once you put that worst outcome on the table again, write it down, your mind will relax and you will realize, okay, you know what? Between 1 and 10, where 10 is this is the absolute disaster, where the whole world explodes and we all die painful and slow deaths, compared to that, what is it? And maybe it's only a number 3 or number 4. So change your perspective of whatever you're feeling right now and realize that there is maybe some much worse things that could happen, some much bigger stuff, and put it in perspective. So the perspectives we can take is a time perspective, to literally say, in 10 years, 100 years, 1,000 years, will this be an event of significance or will it just be a blip? The second perspective is we put it on a scale to literally put your event in a perspective of being in the tsunami or living through a concentration camp in Second World War. How does it rate on the fear level of being in the situation you're in right now compared to some of those big number 10 fears out there? And the third one I can recommend, the third one perspective is a geographic distance perspective. And what I do in those cases, I just beam myself on the moon. I discovered that skill, by the way. I shared it with you when I was 20 and lived in Spain on a little island with a lot of supply of illegal substances. I was tripping, as they say, and I realized I could actually beam myself onto the moon. And I kept that skill from those hippie days. And the way it works, your attention can literally transport your consciousness as well. So by simply focusing your attention on a different part of the universe, by just looking up to the sky or the moon or a faraway thing and looking back at yourself, it is a tremendous skill to help you to change the significance. And these are just simple NLP strategies to turn down the volume of the event, to turn down the color of the event, to turn down the volume of the event, to put it into the distance, to make it smaller and less significant. All these things are directly linked to our mind having a lesser intense emotion about the event. And these simple strategies can really help you. So changing your perspective is one of my simplest and most used strategies you can use at any point when fear strikes in your mind or in your life.
Absolutely, and Nathan hits the NLP term on the head. It's a reframe. Absolutely right.
Absolutely.
That's the
Yeah,
NLP.
cool,
Those
cool.
NLPers out there, you know exactly what that means. I just a simple example. I also think it can be a question of getting some distance. Let's think about if you're having like an argument with a loved one, and it's just a simple question of taking 10 seconds to stop and breathe, and just calm yourself, relax yourself, and just get your emotions into a different place. That's something that obviously most of us will be familiar with as a strategy for diffusing that kind of situation. I think it's a similar thing. So
I agree, but I think the power lies in using those strategies. And again, we all know a lot of stuff, but actually, this is one of my favorite sayings from Roger Hamilton. He says, "To know and not to do is not to know." And this is such a this hit me between the eyes. You know, we all know so much good stuff, but are we acting upon it? Are we using it in daily life? And these little tips. They're also a reminder for myself, and make no mistake, I'm doing this webinar tonight because James and I spent during the week hours talking about what can we do to move our lives and our protection levels for our family forward. And then when we came to some good conclusions, we said, why don't we share it with as many people as we can? And we have the luxury and the benefit of having a list of people we can talk to very easily and just invite them to a webinar. So please feel free to pass any of the information on if you find it is useful. Number 4 is a very simple strategy, and I wanna really bring that out into light. It is something that I learned in my work with Tony Robbins. It is celebrating every success, and I found with our own students, you know, we have some incredible students in our inner circle mastermind group, in our group coaching programs, and what I found is that they're all incredible hard on themselves. And I've written it in my book. I know it from my own story. We always very hard with ourselves. We find it easy to see other people's successes. We celebrate their successes, but do we celebrate our own? And I want to remind you, and I would encourage you tonight after the webinar to celebrate a success. That success is maybe small. It is maybe, you know what, I said I want to go on a webinar and I stayed till the end. And you know what, I took notes because I said I would. Or you know what, whatever it is, it's small successes, but it's that you celebrate, which sends a message to your brain that you've succeeded, that you're positive, that on your way. If you beat yourself up with the club every day, you're not going to wake up the next morning looking forward to it because you create learned behavior. So it's very important that you celebrate the smallest successes and don't be embarrassed. Who cares? It's your own life. You celebrate whatever you want to celebrate. If that is a day at the gym or going for a walk or eating a healthy diet or getting your website up or coming to a webinar or attending an event, whatever it is, you celebrate whatever you deem possible. And just like the gratitude list, write a gratitude list, but also write a success list and say, you know, what can I celebrate today? What did I achieve today that I can celebrate? And I promise you, it's one of the best habits I ever started in my life, because I was always down on myself. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. Remember, fear number 1, we're not good enough. So writing down and celebrating small and large successes are really, really valuable, that you can move your game forward and you combat that other energy. Remember, one thing is energy. So the energy of fear has to be combated with that positive energy of success. Okay? So that's really a very short one. James, any addition before I move on?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is definitely one of the things we see with the coaching students of ours, that when just by the fact that we kind of force them to have regular conversations, reviewing what they've done on a regular basis, it really makes them stop and see the progress that they've made over the weeks and months. And so coaching is brilliant for that, because a good coach will help you to celebrate every success. But if you're not lucky enough to have a coach, you can find an accountability partner, a buddy, if you like, and that can work almost as well. You know, somebody you can call on a regular basis and just tell them what you've done and go through your successes, and they can, you know, they can big you up, you know, and they can congratulate you, and you can do the same for them. The key thing is really you've got to know like-minded people who you can talk with and share these kind of experiences.
A great example, James. I want to put something out there. I know that we got Andrew on the call tonight. Andrew is an amazing coach, and he does coaching programs for weight loss and alkaline diet. And I want to just say one thing to those incredible people out there who are coaches and trainers. It is very hard for us as leaders and coaches to be good to ourselves. We're fantastic for everybody else, but we're just not taking time for our, and I speak from my own experience. The amount of times James has to pick me up and say, Dan, you know, you're doing good here. You're helping a lot of people. You're doing a great, but it is so hard to see for yourself. So distance yourself, have an accountability partner. These things will really help you. And especially if you're in a coaching environment yourself, make sure that you have a next level coach. James and I, we have, in my eyes, a expensive is the wrong word, a high ticket business coach that keeps us accountable. And why do we do that? Because we want him to look at our business and show us our progress and give us our feedback. And when we do our retreats and when we have these stories, it's incredible. You need people to say, you know what, you've done really well. You got to measure and track what you do, and we don't do that enough. And this is really just a little reminder. So thanks, James, for bringing in this whole coaching element. This is so powerful. That's where we can see the biggest breakthroughs. Especially, we're lucky on our retreats that we actually put time aside. I felt lucky because in my public speaking career, I regularly tell my story. So I've actually got used to reviewing my life, and this is really powerful. I mean, do your own presentation. Even if you never hit the big stage, create a presentation of your life and present it to yourself, present it to people. Your breakthroughs, your successes, your battles that you won. So here's my tip number 5, and in our life we had a lot of fun with that, and I can't remember where I picked that one up, but somewhere along the lines, you might remember.
It was Mr. Dwayne Kerr, wasn't it? I think wasn't it?
Was it? I don't know. I mean, I'd love to claim it's my own, but the fact is that we all want to be perfect, and where does perfectionism come from? It comes from fear. Guess what? We want to be right 100%. We want to be perfect. We don't want people to criticize us or ridicule us. And you know what? Here is my biggest lesson from all this. Just get it out there. James has a different phrase which is similarly meaningful and a bit less tongue-in-cheek. It's just good is good enough. And just good is good enough. For goodness sakes, get it out there. Let the world see it. Get some feedback. And then if you really want, make it better, make it better, make it better. But get some stuff out there. If you develop some perfect solution in your cupboard, no one gives a damn. I'm sorry to say. Don't worry. Be crappy. Get it out there. Let people see what you got. Go listen. When I went on stage first, I was the absolute worst sales guy or presenter. My first deal, I sold nothing. I had a $1 product. One pity person gave me a pound because they felt so bad for me. I was absolutely crappy in what I did. My products didn't work. My public speaking wasn't working. My presentations didn't work. You just got to go out and collect feedback and get better, get humble, celebrate your successes, put your emotions on the table, and this is all fair. We know that people are afraid of public speaking. They're afraid of running their own business. Why? Because when you stay in your environment, if you stay in your job, guess what? You can go to the pub and whinge with everybody else. But if you're in your own business, you know what? I said that last year, and it hit me like a brick in between my eyes. If you have your own business, you are a 24/7, 365 self-development program. Okay? You have an absolute, you see exactly where you are, where you at. Because your financial success, your business success, believe it or not, is a direct representation and reflection of where you really are as a leader. And this is where the rubber meets the road, where the shit hits the fan. That's it. But to get started, get out there. Don't worry. Just do it. If you knew how little people really cared about the stuff you put out there, you wouldn't worry so much. Just get it out there.
I couldn't agree more. This is also a Seth Godin phrase, which I saw in a video of his recently. He says you should always be shipping. You know, this is the phrase he uses, which means just pump stuff out there. Write blog posts, write articles, create products, go and speak to people regularly, do stuff frequently, because the act of doing stuff frequently is the best means. The best strategy, one of the best strategies you will have for overcoming the fear.
Yeah.
You don't give yourself time to stop and be afraid.
I fully agree. I fully agree. And to be honest, I mean, that brings me directly perfect bridge, James, to number 6. And number 6 is maybe my favorite one. And it's keep being afraid. Now, what does it mean? It means, guys, this won't go away. I heard an amazing interview recently with some of the top business leaders, including Richard Branson, and those guys acknowledge that they have to be afraid at times. And chemically, in your brain, fear and excitement are the same emotion, by the way. They are the same biochemical triggers. So it is down to you to use that fear as excitement, because it means opportunity. As human beings, we need to look at opportunity. We need to look at growth. We need to look at change. And I tell you what, the amount of things we can achieve, and I want to push myself this year, next year, and the year beyond. Jim Rohn used to say about his father, he said, Dad, you're now 78, and what are you going to do next year? You're going to slow down. And he said, you know what, I'm gonna invest my 78 years in my 79th.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, wow, this is it. Whatever you have achieved so far, use all of this and put it into your next year and make it better. And then all of this accumulated is like compound interest, okay? It's compound life experience. And this is why all of us can go out there. You have lived and learned so much. Put it all into your next step. And I look at sometimes what I do today. Every job, however shitty it was, from digging up the road to installing antennas and whatever I did in my weird and wonderful life, it all helps me to be what I do today. I draw from everything, and I want to urge you to do the same. Keep being afraid, keep growing, keep putting new stuff out there, and put it all into use when you do your next adventure. I mean, that's just life is really all about that. Keep pushing yourself, keep being afraid. And if you're not afraid, then remember, you got to push yourself harder, because the comfort zone equals your income zone. If you don't grow, your business won't grow. If you don't do new stuff, and by the way, I could spend days talking about all the mistakes and cock-ups I've made. And I believe that all the mistakes I made and all the fear is directly in proportion to what my achievements are. Whatever you call them, my little breakthroughs and all the stuff I do. James, you want to add some of that before we do a little summary?
No, I think you hit nail on the head. It's good stuff.
Okay, cool. So guys, I'm very excited to see that we have 100% of everyone who joined us still here with us today. And I try to be flippant and a little bit self-depreciating by saying maybe you're still waiting for some good stuff to come. You're still here. But hopefully what it does mean that you had some value out of that. I know it's a different kind of message we're putting out today. And I want to put it into a frame. I want to put it into a context. Tell it as it is. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with the people that love and respect you. And here's a little saying you can write down. The ones that matter don't mind. And the ones that mind don't matter. So in your life, the people who really matter, they don't care if you're down or if you had a bad hair day, okay? And the ones who make a fuss, they don't matter. They have no relevance to your life. So tell it as it is. Don't be afraid to do that. Don't freak yourself out. Surround yourself with positive people, positive news, positive energy. Change your perspective. Use anything you can. Use geography. Use time. Use a scale from 1 to 10. Use any reframe you can. Use all your NLP skills. Turn it down. Make it black and white. Push it in the background. Change your perspective on the event. Celebrate every success. We are so used to comparing ourselves with an illusory world created by the media that we forget what we achieve every day. Every day that you stay out there fighting a battle for positive emotions, sharing, being good to people, that's when you succeed at being human at a higher level. Don't worry, be crappy. Number 5, very my favorite out of the 6 strategies, because we're all hoping it will be perfect one day. The word perfection, by the way, comes from the Latin word perfectio, which means it is finished. Now let me ask you that simple question for your own mind. Nothing will ever be finished, correct? Everything is always in flow. Everything is always changing. So you can never be perfect. Perfection is never achieved. It is always a state of flux. So don't even worry about it. Just put stuff out there, collect feedback. The numbers in the marketplace will be a feedback. The friendships and relationships around you are a feedback of what you're trying to put out there. Just keep being afraid, keep accepting that you're not perfect, keep really affirming what you stand for and what you stand against. And this is literally my little piece of wisdom for you today.
Well, I just want to say there's been some great feedback, Daniel, from Andrew,
Excellent.
Tracy, that I think a lot of this stuff actually is more important than the mechanics of how to build an online business by a million miles. This is the stuff that stops us from doing all that stuff. As Daniel said, it's not the technical stuff, it is the stuff in our mind that the fear that holds us back from doing anything, whatever you want to achieve. So there's
Yeah.
nothing more important than this. I truly believe.
Totally, and to be honest, I mean, if our society and government would do a proper job at nurturing that emotion, there wouldn't be a space for hundreds and thousands of coaches and trainers, on people running groups like James and I do, running events like we do. In the way, I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to step up as a leader and go out there and do this work. And everyone who is on their journey to making themselves independent as a businessman in their lives, who want to take fate in their own hands and life in their own hands, you all know exactly what I'm talking about. Remember, it's only two and a half years ago I quit my job, January 2009. I quit my job with HP. James only quit his job in November 2010. You know, this is literally, sorry, do I get that right? No, November
No,
2009.
yeah.
So that's less than 2 years ago. James quit his job, you know, and he really, he didn't have a parachute. He just jumped, you know. He was like, okay, that's it. I want to do this stuff, okay? And guess what? If it has to work, you got to bloody make it work. You need a big enough reason to make it work. But guys, if you allow me, I just want to spend a few minutes. It's Friday night. I fully understand. I really loved having a webinar tonight. Gillian says, what a great way to end the week of upheaval. And absolutely, Gillian, I'm really glad you made the time tonight. A lot of good feedback here. So what I want to do, guys, I want to, if you want, have more of the same thing. Last year, we actually ran an amazing event called the 7-Figure Formula, and it was all about pushing boundaries, overcoming fear. We had people in the room that you can see on the right-hand side on this picture who have succeeded. They were our top platinum student, Gillian being one of them, Keith Watson, Phil Turner, and of course Maksud. And actually Maksud's mom, Nazma, is on the call tonight, so she will have some warm memories, some fond memories of that day when her son Maksud actually walked away with the grand prize on the day. But why I'm showing you this photograph, because James and I had an amazing event. It was all about, believe it or not, the love in the room. It was about the energy in the room. And yes, I'm an internet marketer, but much more. I'm a passionate philosopher about life change from my own experience, and money and business is just one small aspect of that. So we actually decided to do another event this year. And this year is going to be, of course, bigger, better, faster, more. We want to do a more meaningful event with even better content. And we call it the UK Info Millionaire Summit. And bear with me why we do that and what's available to you. Now, first of all, we realized that we want to have a UK-focused event, only UK guys, and they're all information marketers like James and I, which means they're making money from selling information, most of them empowering information in the fields of self-development or wealth creation or health. Okay, it's all about getting information out there with the amazing new media available to us. It's a 2-day event. It's 24th, 25th of September, so it still seems a few weeks away, but I want to share with you why we're already talking about the event today. It's going to be a lot of fun, believe me. We're going to make it fun, but you're also going to get an amazing content, and I promise you right now, it is not a pitch fest. So James and I will be offering an opportunity to work with us, but everybody else will just be sharing incredible blueprint content that you can use and copy for your own business. So what we're sharing with you are 8 UK Info Millionaire Blueprints. All of them, every single one of them, has a special presentation, many of them never shared before, that help you to create your own life of freedom, to battle that fear, use that fear, and make it into a life of passion and success and purpose. All of them are easy to copy, what we call fusion marketing principles. They combine offline with online marketing. Of course, we're going to use internet marketing. Would be foolish not to, but I promise you all of them are more than that. We're going to do some funky stuff in the room. We're going to have an iPad 2 prize draw just for being in the room. We did a great prize draw last time. We're also going to have a Better Your Best competition like we had the year before, and it's going to be case studies from our students, and I promise you there will be so much in there that you can use for your own business, your own journey. We're going to give away a £5,000 worth preloaded UK Info Millionaire Business in a Box, a massive 27-inch fully pimped iMac and of course with a video camera and with the microphones, you can record and create your own information products there on the day. So that's going to be great. But let me quickly show you who's involved. We have some tried and tested, but also some new speakers. And without spending too long on it, guys, because I know it's a Friday night, but let me just spend a few minutes. Paul Avins, he is an incredible business coach, mentored and coached 27 millionaires personally, and has got hundreds of students and businesses that he teaches his award-winning turbo strategies to double and triple profits in any business. We got obviously Ranjan Bhattacharya, who is not just a multi-million-pound property investor, he's also a multi-million-pound information marketer. And he's recently launched a product with my help that is very successful, even in the current property market, which is not a thriving market, and he will share exact principles to use. Marcus de Maria. Marcus is a long-term friend and business partner. He helped me with my speaking career when he ran the Wealth Workout. He's a trading legend, and he's the first UK trainer with T. Harv Eker, traveling the world right now, lifting the mindset and teaching millionaire mind principles. I couldn't think and wish for a better person to share the stage with us, and he's not selling anything. He's just there to help you, giving him his strategies. By the way, Marcus is also a father of two young children, and the way he balances his businesses, his family life, and his health is just incredible, and I want to share some of the stuff with you. Paul Teague, he's one of our multi-six-figure online students. He has launched some very successful products. He's a Facebook marketing guru, and he's on our Inner Circle coaching program. He will give you some Facebook blueprints you've never seen before. You can use, it doesn't matter what business you're using, even if you're brand new and just starting out, even if you're advanced. He is literally the only guy right now who is prepared for the massive change that's coming on Facebook in September. He's already put himself in that frame, and you need to learn what that is. We got, of course, Phil Turner, a student who started with us only a short year ago. It's 18 months ago from the time he started with us from scratch, and he is now a product creation expert extraordinaire, the productivity coach. He's achieved so much this year, and if you listen to his testimonial on the sales page, he said it's all down to us giving him the confidence, and confidence is the antidote for fear. Giving him confidence he can and can achieve it, and that's what he's done. Of course, James will talk about how he managed to break free from his limitations in a job. He had a high-paid, very secure job, but what motivated him to break free, and he gives you actually a 5-step formula. He's a fusion marketing coach, of course, my business partner, but he will talk about how to break free from your job and start your own business, from 5-figure salary to 6-figure business in just a year. Stuart Ross, a high-ticket expert. I don't know anybody in the world who can sell high-ticket coaching programs like Stuart does. He is, of course, the SFM founder. With me together, he's the attraction marketing guru. He will talk about attraction marketing principles he's never shared before on stage. You need to learn from Stuart how he attracts the right people, the right business into his realm. And this is a presentation I look forward very much. And of course, there is myself. I want to share with you how I was able to launch multiple membership sites in the last few years, not just for James and myself, but with business partners like Rob Moore, like Marcus de Maria, like Ranjan Bhattacharya. So in different businesses, I helped in different industries launch multi-six-figure membership sites. And I want to talk about launch and joint venture strategies that you can replicate. I pioneered the concept of the silent launch partner, where you just add the marketing to existing businesses, and that might be a very attractive blueprint that you can use in your own business. So what is available for you? You can secure your place today, and we want to make that very, very easy for you. So what is available to you? We got the first UK Infomillionaire Summit, a 2-day event in London in the park in at Heathrow. 8 easy-to-copy UK Infomillionaire blueprints. You get a ton of prize draws, lots of stupid stuff, but I would just say to you, go to ukinfomillionaire.com right now to secure that. And I want to just share with you a couple of bonuses we've thrown in. The price for those 2 days is a 2-day training event. The Infomillionaire Summit is just $197, but there's a couple of bonuses I want to throw in as well. Now, first of all, last year we ran a seven-figure formula, 2-day incredible event. There's a 10 DVD set available that we sold at $497. We want to give you that totally free of charge as a bonus for making a decision today. You should check it out. There are some amazing presentations from Rob Moore about traffic strategies, from Dan Bradbury about conversion strategies. Mike Southern has spoken about the business aspects of the Beatles empire. Amazing stuff. And all that is yours for free for just making a decision tonight. We're also going to give you a bonus of a product that the student and I put together and James has helped us with. It is the six-figure traffic secrets, a product currently on sale for £200. We want to give you that totally free of charge. It talks about the free traffic domination blueprint. Traffic is the lifeblood of every business, so that is available to you. And then is, of course, Stuart Ross's paid Facebook traffic strategies. We also want to give you our traffic conversion secrets. That's a product we put together a couple of years ago, but still absolutely relevant. Some great strategies from email marketing to sales copy to webinar cache secrets. Again, you get access to all these 7 strategies worth $197 as part of bonus number 2. Making a decision today. And of course, our price today, we're going to give you £100 off. It's the early bird discount. Most likely the price will go up. All you got to do is use our secret code called FUSION, FUSION, on the checkout page, and it will take your ticket price down from $200 to just £100. Let me sum up the bonuses for you. Bonus 1, the 7-figure formula, 10 DVD set. Bonus 2, the 6-figure traffic secrets, including 7 traffic conversion secrets. By the way, we're going to ship you the 7-figure formula DVD set to your home. It will be produced for you, fresh off the press. It will be sent to you next week. So if you want to make a decision on that tonight, those bonuses most likely never be offered again. Bonus number 3 is special as well. James and I know that business partners are really your accountability buddies and the people who are going to push you forward to the next level above your fear barrier. So if you make a decision tonight, you can simply bring a friend for free. Just shoot us an email, tell us who it is so we can prepare a name tag for them, and you can literally get 2 tickets for the price of 1 tonight. The page to go to is very simply the ukinfomillionaire.com. And oops, my page jumped here. And ukinfomillionaire.com to get all the bonuses I shared with you, plus getting the incredible tickets for just £97. There is also a guarantee. If you, for whatever reason, can't make the event, just let us know 4 weeks, 30 days before the event and get your money back. I know it's still a few weeks off, but if you do a bit of planning, put it in your diary now. It is the 24th, 25th of September at London Heathrow. We've been absolutely blessed to see you. It's only our customers we're inviting to it. There is no pitching going on. All of the millionaires you've seen will share content from their own businesses, never been done before, and it's all about learning and moving to the next level. So our insurance policy is the money back guarantee, and let me just end with the warning. This is not for everyone. If you're looking for one of those events where people are crammed into a massive room, stuck in row Z, and you're told every 5 minutes to run to the back to take by some so-called guru, then I'm afraid you'll be disappointed. If instead you're looking to join a group of ethical, successful entrepreneurs building real businesses, rather than pie-in-the-sky pipe dreams in a warm, friendly, and yes, entertaining environment for 2 full days, then you will be very happy indeed. We'll be there Saturday evening as well to hang out, and we're going to be pushing the boundaries. We're going to be pushing our own fear to make it the best event we ever did. We want to help you push beyond your fear barrier to take your life and your business to the next level. This is really what I want to offer you today, guys. Thank you so much for coming on the webinar tonight. If you want to take advantage of the incredible opportunity, let me just share with you what's on offer. For just £97, you get 2 tickets to the UK Infomillionaire, an event running end of September at London Heathrow. You get an early bird discount booking today. Just use the secret code FUSION. You get the 7-figure formula 10 DVDs that's sent to your home. You get 6-figure traffic secrets, including the 7 times 7 traffic conversion strategy secrets sent to you as well. Just to let you know, guys, this bonus will expire by the end of Sunday. So you have literally all weekend to worry about, is this for you? You will be getting a replay if you want to check out some more content of that, but I think it's been pretty clear. It's all about overcoming your fear, finding strategies to do that, be with the right people, and this event is going to be 2 days just full of that. So, James, anything you want to add to that? And I'll have a sip of water.
No, so I just want to say what you won't see on the sales letter, guys, is that any mention of the seven-figure Formula 10 DVD set tonight. So although even though it doesn't say it on the sales page, that is an extra bonus that Daniel has mentioned. So it does exist. But we've got only a limited number of supplies of those left. So literally, that's why we're not expecting to have many of them left beyond Sunday, if any at all. So do recommend you take advantage. To be honest, it's worth the price. Actually, we're going to be selling the DVD set for $197. Actually at the event, so this is even cheaper than that on its own. So, but the main thing, I think, guys, I just want to really encourage you. It was going to events that really turned my life around. You know, in terms of helping me move away from my job and take control of my economy, if you like. And if you've not been to an event like this before with positive-minded people looking to do the same thing, you definitely need to be there. There's no doubt about it.
It's a great question from Julie. How do we get our hands on bonus 2 and 2? You will be getting an email as soon as you have completed your checkout with access details to the secret page where all the traffic secret videos are and the traffic and conversion secrets videos as well. So this is online access. Bonus 1 is a physical product. This is actually a DVD set, a box set, value $497 that we sell at the event at $197 discounted, but of course you can get it totally free today for just £97 and of course get 2 tickets to the event as well. So it's worth just buying the tickets to get the bonus, but of course we want to see you on the days. We want to see you in the room with us. We want to give you a tremendous experience to really fill your heart with courage to move beyond that.
Can I just ask one more question before we wrap up, Daniel? This was a little bit of unusual content compared to what we normally do, guys. We've got a lot of great feedback, so I think I know what the answer is going to be. But I would just like to know: would you be interested if in Daniel sharing more content of a similar nature in the future, i.e., stuff that's mindset, not purely about nuts and bolts of internet marketing? Can you just let me know in the question box if you would be interested in a little bit more of the same? Okay, lots of yeses coming through that. I kind of guessed, but I just wanted to double check.
Cool. No, fantastic. I like that very much, because thank you very much for the feedback, guys, because it's something that James and thank you, Brian, for the feedback that has been very concise, because my worry sometimes with mindset stuff that it's fluffy. So I want to make sure I offer real strategies, real stories, real examples that how you can use this stuff. And just let you know, we're all in the same battle here. The battle is always between our ears. Everything is possible. What we learned hundreds of years ago, actually more than 100 years ago, when first Napoleon Hill put together his collection of stories and interviews in Think and Grow Rich. What a man can perceive, man can achieve. So it all depends on your dream, on your belief, on your why. It's all mindset. It's all out there. A success mindset is really the key. The technology is 10-15% of it. Get it done. But believing it, going out there, having the right mindset. I just want to say is that, are there any questions? Can I help anybody make a decision tonight? Any reasons why you think you can't come? I'm sorry, by the way, a couple people said they're definitely not going to be around at this time. They're going to be abroad. But I also had some people saying they're definitely going to be there. So that is good. You're going to join a great group. I know that some of you are abroad. If you can make it to the UK, combine it with a little family holiday, I can promise you we're going to make it an amazing event for you. So is anybody out there needing to make a decision tonight and needs some answers from me? Any questions? The event is at London Heathrow at the Park Inn. In the same room we did a seven-figure formula last year. It was a fantastic room. We were very pleased with everything. So we're running it there once more. If we thought about live streaming it, that is possible, Gillian. We have thought about it. We have talked about it. We have looked at possible providers for that. But as we all know, it will never be the same as being in the room.
It never
but of course,
is,
for people who are abroad, we want to make sure they have access to at least some of the sessions. That's definitely. But obviously, we want to encourage people tonight to join us in the room. What time will we finish on the 25th? We're pretty good with timing. The event is planned from 9 to 6, and we're not going to overrun. If you want to stay behind, of course, for drinks, that's always an amazing evening, Sunday night. Everyone will be pumped up. But if you need to book your flights, then feel free to book your flights for Sunday evening. The event will finish around 6 o'clock. Parking is available, yes, Nathan, and we normally get free parking for all the attendees thrown in as well as part of the deal with the hotel. So that should not be a problem. I personally will be driving because we have some kit for the event as well. All right, guys, it's been Friday night. It's 9:15. And unless there are any more questions from you, thank you, by the way, for all the well wishes regarding my dad's health. I hope we hear more tomorrow. I hope that he's got a good night. And obviously, I have used some of the strategies I discussed with you tonight to conquer my own fear about the possible outcomes and just focus on what is fact, what is now, what is reality, and what can I make, what meaning can I give it, no matter what happens, because right now I can't influence the events very much. Thank you very much for all the amazing feedback. Thanks so much, guys.